All right, so I just did a video talking about the potential silver breakout, and well, I mean, I looked at the Fed balance sheet and the Treasury account. They're not pumping a bunch of money, and so the inflation signals aren't really there that I would want to see for silver to really do a breakout that makes sense. And also, the Treasury yields are breaking down, so you can check that out in my previous video. But I just wanted to take a look at some different ways to buy silver. So this, this silver chart here is just the spot price. And of course, I mean, it went crazy. So it went parabolic, and now it's this really high volatility zone that looks like a good spot for, a break one way or the other. But the setup and the momentum here is most likely a bullish continuation technical setup, but the liquidity and the high inflation environment that everybody would buy silver based on isn't really showing up in the charts yet. It's not showing up on the balance sheet. It's not showing up in the bonds. The bond yields are actually coming down, which would be bad for silver. But we are seeing rotation out of the tech sector, so that could be part of what's going on. Money is coming out of the tech and into the other sectors and into gold and silver a little bit. But I wanted to take a look at like SLV. This is everybody's favorite silver. And so SLV is the silver ETF, and this is contracts. So it's paper silver, but this is JP Morgan's silver. So JP Morgan has the most monstrous supply of silver. They have like over half of the world's monetary silver. And so these are, exchange traded fund for JP Morgan's silver. So, I mean, that's your counterparty risk if you, if you want to trade SLV. So long term, if you're holding this long term in case of some kind of a calamity or something like that, the counterparty risk comes into effect a little bit more. You may want to take a look at physical silver, and it's not too crazy to have some silver coins. They're pretty easy to find. But yeah, I just want to talk about the counterparty risk. I talk about gold a lot. Silver counterparty risk is similar, but JP Morgan is one of the more reliable primary banks that, it's fully backstopped by the Fed. So I don't see a huge risk in SLV, whereas like the GLD is much scarier because GLD, the counterparty, the custodian of GLD is HSBC, which operates in Hong Kong, which is being taken over by China now. And it's a London bank. So you have operating in Hong Kong, and then it's contracts with the banks in Hong Kong and London that have contracts on Bank of England's store of gold. And so the Bank of England recently just refused delivery of physical gold to Venezuela. So you have political risk and counterparty risk across several countries with the GLD. And then HSBC is one of these international banks that may or may not, be getting bailed out by the Fed. And they could be at huge risk themselves so the GLD has a ton of counterparty and political risk. The SLV is all America. It's JP Morgan. It's backstopped by the Fed, and they have a ton of silver. And then I don't know if the actual contracts for silver are one-to-one. It's not physical delivery or anything like that. It is paper silver contracts, just so you realize what you're getting. And this is not investment advice. And here's another silver option for physical paper. They call it the physical gold trust, but it's still paper silver. But this is in Canada, and this is Sprott. And so the silver there is Canada, and this fund comes with an agreement for physical delivery. So these contracts are one-to-one contract to silver ratio, and you can request physical delivery. And so that's another option that's more, I guess, more physical, but that's still paper silver, but you can trade it. It's easy to trade. And then I'm sorry, this is the gold. PHYS is the Sprott Physical Gold Trust. It's PSLV is the Sprott Silver. Yeah, so the PSLV is the Canadian Physical Delivery Paper Silver. So those are just some options for kind of trading paper silver on the markets. And then I'll do another video talking about miners and things like that. There's one that I like to mention. And so this is First Majestic. And this is my favorite silver mining company for a couple of reasons. Trading, it's been trading very similar to the silver prices. But if you go to the First Majestic website, it's really cool. This is the only silver miner that actually focuses on silver. They actually do silver mining. It's not a byproduct of commodity metals or a byproduct of gold mining. It's an actual silver mining company. They are in Canada and their mines are in Mexico. So outside of the US, these are the best jurisdictions for mining. The management team is good. You can see it's trading similar to the spot price for now. But sometimes the miners go crazy. And sometimes it's the little miners that are super risky that take off way more. But this is more of a stable and normal miner. But yeah, just as a miner to point out, this is one. And then if you go to their website, this is also the only miner that mints their own silver coins. So you can order silver coins directly from this company. And they have little Aztec artwork on the coins. They're pretty cool looking, but the prices are generally going to be better on these than they are for, well, let's go and take a look. Yeah, so here's First Majestic's website. And so if you go to the bullion store, oh, I popped that into a new tab. Sorry about that. There you go. Yeah, so if you go to the bullion store, you can see they have the Aztec coins and things like this, but they mint these directly. So this mining company makes their own coins, and the silver price was $20 for the last like 5 months. It was 20 or 21 an ounce for like the last 5 months. The spot silver price came all the way down to I think 11. It hit 11. The coins were still $20 here when it was spot price 11, but now it just moved up to 25 an ounce for these coins, and they actually haven't had coins available. So maybe they were just waiting to get coins before changing the price. Okay, I just jumped over. I'm on macrotrends.com right now, and this is a long-term silver chart that goes back to, I don't know, like 1900 or something. This is the Great Depression here. So just pointing out, like this was the roaring 20s, and silver did poorly during the stock market bull market, and then the stock market crash, silver collapsed, and then silver has been on since the Great Depression up until the 80s, which was an inflationary environment. Silver did killer. And then, the crash, this is the 2000 crash. And so we've been coming down off of the high inflation. Like this whole time, silver has been going down. And then after the dot-com, through the financial crisis, up to 2011, which is a really strange thing, silver has been going up. And this is still, the interest rates have been decreasing, inflation, velocity of money has been decreasing, and silver has been going up and bubbling against that, which is really weird. That's not the environment that silver should be doing really well. And then, here you can see from 2011, just kind of coming down a bit, but here's the little pop. This is showing 14 as the low recently. And then this is a really common thing for silver to pull down when you get a crash because it sells off and then kind of rebound afterwards. Like you see in the financial crisis, it pulled down and then it just continued the trend that it was on before. So, I mean, silver just went, it sold off during the crisis, but it just continued the trend. But so what is the actual trend that we're on now? Is a little bit weird. And that you can actually see the recession bar starting to show up here on macro trends now. I think we're officially in a recession now. They've been avoiding saying that, I guess, but it showed up on the Fed balance sheet site and it's showing up on here now. But yeah, so we had a huge run and then a crash, and now I hear people saying that silver's at a historically low price, and this is inflation adjusted. So when you inflation adjust this chart, you can see comparable silver prices would be like less than $5 an ounce in the Great Depression, or even in 2000 it was like $6 an ounce. So that's historically low, like $6 or maybe $8 or something, because inflation is not exactly correct, but maybe like $8 is historically low, not $22. So silver's not really historically low. I mean, it has had some bubbles, and we just hit one here. So yeah, this is a tricky one. Silver's a tricky one. It's not historically low, and it's not the environment where it should be doing really well. But it does technically look like it's breaking out. So that's just kind of a look at the kind of options. Yeah, so back on TradingView. So I was just going to draw this thing again. So yeah, as I was saying, we may be entering a high inflation environment, and that's what people apparently are betting on here. But the bond trading and balance sheets and things like that aren't showing that yet. But it looks like we have maybe Monday we're going to be kind of squeezing down into this area where it's going to break out soon, and it'll break out up or down. Who knows? We'll see what it does. But yeah, this kind of parabolic move, if it flags out, usually is going to be a bullish continuation pattern. And so even though I don't think it makes sense based on liquidity or fundamentals or inflation, any reason that it should actually be breaking out right now, it looks like it is going to. So yeah, and this silver ticker, this isn't the spot price exactly. These are derivatives that trade on the spot price. So this chart is not exactly equivalent to the macro trends chart that I was looking at on the spot price. But yeah, as far as a value investment, silver is not historically cheap. Everyone says it is, and it's not. It's not even close. Like $8 is historically cheap. And yeah, you want a high inflation environment and a very good commodities environment. And so we're in like a mediocre commodity environment, and maybe going into high inflation, but it hasn't happened yet. So we'll see what we get, because that's not a guarantee. But it looks like the silver bugs think we're getting high inflation now, and it's pretty. This is a really interesting chart for it to break out like this right now. All right, so this is not investment advice, and please leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, silver, paper silver, less sketchy to me than the gold ones, because it's just like the Sprott in Canada or the JP Morgan silver in the US are both pretty good. And so that is another look at silver with a little bit more information. Yeah, happy trading.